I was not expecting this to be what it is, because what just came out is not about you. It is about everyone else. The cards are showing me 7 signs right now, and not one of them is internal. Not one of them is about what you are feeling or what shifted in you overnight. All 7 of them are about the people around you, what they are noticing, what they cannot explain, what they are doing about it right now. Today, August 14th, 2 days after the eclipse, while you are just quietly getting on with your life. And I have to tell you, the 7th one. The 7th sign involves a specific person. Someone who had a very fixed story about who you were. And that story broke overnight, and they are sitting with that right now in a way I find almost, I am going to come back to it. I need to build to it properly, but by the end of this reading, you will know exactly who I mean and exactly what they are doing. Stay with me. Now, let me tell you what is still happening energetically right now, because I think there is a misunderstanding about how eclipse energy works, and it is important for what the cards are showing. Most people think the eclipse was August 12th. They watched the coverage, they felt what they felt, and then August 13th arrived and they assumed the window had closed. It is not closed. Stay with me 1 second on this simple version. The eclipse on August 12th was the first in an 18-month cycle along a brand new axis. What that means in plain language is that August 12th was not an event that concluded. It was a door that opened. And the energy coming through that door does not stop the moment the moon moves on. It keeps running through the 13th, through today, the 14th, through the coming weeks, getting quieter, but not getting weaker. What that means for this reading specifically is that what the eclipse shifted in you, the thing that moved, the thing that released, the thing that permanently closed, people around you are still registering it, still adjusting to it, still trying to reconcile the version of you they had filed away with the version of you that showed up after August 12th. And the cards are showing me exactly what that looks like from their side. 7 signs, all of them about other people, all of them about right now. So the first sign is that someone reached out who had gone quiet. Not a dramatic message, not an apology or a confession, something low stakes and casual on the surface. A meme, a check-in, a hey, I saw this and thought of you. Something that in isolation would seem completely ordinary, but the timing is not ordinary. And you know that. You felt something slightly different when their name appeared on your screen. A small shift in the air, not excitement, something more like confirmation. They have been watching more than they let on, and whatever shifted in you around the eclipse registered on their end before they had language for it. The reaching out is not an accident. It is someone responding to a change in your energy that they cannot name, but can definitely feel. Do not over-respond. Do not close the distance too fast. The message is data. Let it sit for a moment before you decide what it means. And the second sign is that someone around you is being unusually helpful. And I want to say this specifically because it is easy to miss. Someone in your orbit, a colleague, a friend, someone you interact with regularly is going slightly out of their way for you right now. Offering something before you ask, making things easier without being asked to. Volunteering information or access or time in a way that is slightly outside their usual pattern. This is not random generosity. This is someone recalibrating their behavior toward you based on a shift they have registered but cannot fully explain. People do not extend themselves towards someone they have mentally categorized a certain way. When the category shifts, when something in you moves that changes how they read you, the behavior changes before the conscious mind has caught up. They are treating you differently because you are registering differently. And the interesting thing is they probably do not know they are doing it. Okay, so the third sign is someone asking your opinion, who would not have asked before. This one lands differently for different people. For some of you, it is a work context, someone who previously made decisions without consulting you, suddenly including you in the conversation. For others, it is personal. Someone who used to manage around you rather than through you, suddenly coming to you directly. Either way, the pattern is the same. Your opinion carries more weight in someone's mind today than it did last week, not because you said anything new, because something in how you carry yourself has shifted in a way that makes you feel like someone worth consulting. And if you are honest with yourself, you already know who it is. You have been waiting for them to ask, you stopped waiting around the eclipse, and now they are coming to you. Okay, so the fourth sign is that someone who was competing with you has gone quieter. And I want to be precise here because this is not about someone who disliked you becoming your friend. It is about something subtler. Someone who was running a low-level competition with you for attention, for status, for the approval of a third person has simply become less present in that competition. Not because they gave up, because the eclipse shifted something in you that made competing with you feel less viable. When someone is in competition with another person, there is an assumption underneath it, an assumption that the contest is winnable, that they have something the other person does not, that there is a gap they can exploit. The eclipse closed certain gaps, not by making you more aggressive or more visible or louder, by making you more settled, more fully yourself, and someone running a competition with a version of you that needed to be managed, that competition lost its logic overnight. They are not gone, they are just confused, and confusion looks like quiet. Now I need to pause here because I told you I would get to the seventh sign, and I am building toward it. But before I get there, I need to name the seam in this reading because the cards are not letting me skip it. Okay, so there is a person in this situation who is not just noticing the change, who is actively unsettled by it. And what I am getting for this person is not neutral. It is not the careful recalibration of sign 1 or the helpful adjustment of sign 2. What I am getting is something closer to destabilization. This is the person who had the most invested in a specific version of you. Not necessarily the most important person in your life, the one who needed the most fixed story about who you were, who needed you uncertain or smaller or defined in a particular way, because your uncertainty or smallness or containment was what made them feel a certain way about themselves. And August 12th removed the anchor of that story. They did not plan for this. They were not expecting the ground to shift. And right now, today, they are doing something that I want to describe very specifically because I think it will land for a lot of you watching. They are testing small tests, low stakes, plausibly deniable, a comment that would previously have landed and now just slides off. An attempt to recreate a dynamic that no longer exists, a reach for a reaction that does not come. You said something recently, probably in the last week, that would previously have gotten a reaction from them, and it got silence instead. That silence was not peace. That was recalculation. And each time the test fails, each time you simply do not respond the way the old version of you would have, they get slightly more unsettled. I am getting an initial for this person, C, or the letter A, and something around the number 4 weeks or the 4th, something connected to timing. If that lands, you already know who I mean. And the 5th sign is that you are being watched more carefully in group settings, not hostilely, attentively. People in rooms with you, real rooms or virtual ones, are noticing where your attention goes, what you respond to, what you choose to stay quiet about. There's a quality of observation directed at you right now that was not there before. You may have caught someone glancing at you and then looking away slightly too quickly. That is not imagination. That is someone trying to read something in you they have not been able to read before. Let them watch. You do not need to perform for the observation. What they are seeing does not require your help. Okay, so the 6th sign is that someone is talking about you. And I do not mean negatively. I mean, you have come up in a conversation you were not part of. Someone said your name around August 12th, not to you, about you, in a way that was more generous than the last time your name came up in that room. And the person they mentioned you to is now thinking about you for the first time or in a different way. Some of you will feel the result of this conversation in the next few weeks as something arrives that seems slightly out of nowhere. A message, an opportunity, a reconnection. And when it lands, you will trace it back and realize it started with someone talking about you around the eclipse. It is already in motion. You just cannot see it yet. And now the 7th sign, the one I promised, the person who wrote you off is reconsidering. And I want to say this carefully because I do not want to create a false hope about what reconsidering means. It does not mean an apology is coming. It does not mean they are ready to show up in a way they were not before. Reconsidering is an internal event. You may never see the outside of it, but it is happening. The specific story they told themselves about you, the version of you they filed away, the category they put you in, the fixed conclusion they reached, something cracked in that story around August 12th. Either they saw something, heard something, or simply felt something shift in the air around your name that did not match the story they had been carrying. And now they are in an uncomfortable place because the story was a conclusion. It was finished. And finished things are not supposed to reopen. But this one is reopening. And what I find almost, I want to say almost funny, but it is more complicated than that. What I find almost poetic about this is that they are probably not telling anyone. They cannot. Because admitting the story cracked would require admitting they were carrying a story. And that requires a level of self-awareness that most people who write others off have not yet developed. So they are sitting with it quietly, privately, in the specific discomfort of someone who realizes they may have gotten something important wrong. That is not your problem to solve. You do not need to make it easier for them. You do not need to reopen the door or offer a softer landing. The eclipse did what it did. The reconsidering is theirs to manage. Your only job right now is to keep doing what you were doing on August 12th, the thing that cracked the story in the first place, being fully, unmistakably, undeniably yourself. And one thing I want to say before we close, the 7 signs I just described, the reaching out, the unusual help, the opinion being sought, the competition going quiet, the careful observation, the conversation you were not in, and the story that cracked, these are not rewards you earned by doing everything right. They are not the universe grading your eclipse performance. They are simply what happens when something internal shifts enough to become visible externally. The eclipse did not change how people see you by making you more impressive or more visible or louder. It changed how you see yourself. And that change, that specific internal settling, is what everyone else is now responding to. You walked into August 8th as one version of yourself. You walked out of August 12th as something that has moved, even if you cannot fully articulate what moved. The people around you can feel the difference even when they cannot name it. And the person who had the most invested in the old version, they feel it most of all. And guys, my personal readings are open right now. The link is in the description. What I want to do in a session for you today, specifically, is look at what the eclipse activated in your natal chart. Not in general terms, but precisely which house, which planets. And then look at who in your life is most likely to be responding to that shift. Because the 7 signs I described are real, but the specific people behind them are different for everyone. Your chart tells me which signs land hardest for you and who the 7th sign is most likely pointing at. Come find me there if this reading is naming something specific. Or drop in the comments, tell me which of the 7 landed, the one that made you stop for a second. And if you know who the 7th sign is about, you do not have to name them. Just tell me, is it landing? I will see you in the next one.